You just tuned it in.
Global and worldwide.
Hitting you on the one with no delay. Because it's the Fighter's Voice.
The Fighter's Voice.
With your fighting host, Richard Ortiz.
And the formidable co-host,
Mr. Cole Escovedo. Remember, every fighter has a voice.
Fresno, California, we're live here, Mad Production Studios, Fresno, California. We're making it happen. We got a great show for you today. My man that's coming in studio, I wish he was coming in studio. It sounds like he's coming in the studio. Even though he's on the phone, man, I mean, his impact will just touch you. He reaches the masses, man, and he has a story to tell, and also he has some things to get off his chest. And you know what, I'm going to pick his brain a little bit, because I've been doing some research on him. I've been following him a little bit more, and I want to get down to what makes him click. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Ramblin, Ralph Velez, who was a worldwide ring announcer for the Money Team, and anybody in the world who will have him, give him the mic and the platform, and he's ready to go. Welcome to the show, Ralph. How we doing, my man?
I'm good, man. Thank you guys for having me again. I appreciate it.
Man, it's always a pleasure and a privilege to have you, man. You know what? You keep climbing that mountain. You keep taking those forward steps. And the main thing is, man, your feet are on the ground. Talk to us about your progress, the moves you're making, and what we could expect.
Since the last time we spoke, we've had this COVID thing that's really kind of put a damper on not just what we're doing with, the Mayweathers and Showtime and whatnot. I mean,
Yeah.
We were on a big streak there. We were showing the Mayweather promotion stars, the upcoming stars, the up-and-comers that the promotion had on pretty much exclusively on Showtime for our last 3 shows. And then, obviously, COVID hit, and it was a bummer because we were kind of getting on a roll there, especially in Phoenix. We had Iron Boy Promotions that were going. I work for them here locally in Phoenix as well. But for every rainstorm, man, there's a rainbow. And during the time at home, I got to spend a little bit more time with my family and got to just work on the business aspects of what I was doing. Sometimes, as you know, we're running around with our head cut off, trying to catch a story, or we're trying to better ourselves and trying to get to a certain spot, and sometimes not purposely, but we neglect what's important. Sometimes my kids don't understand that I'm out there grinding for them so that I can send them to college and do what I have to do. But at the same time, I'm sitting here looking on Twitter, and I get a message, and it's a guy, Edward Simpson, who I know I didn't know really well at the time. I had heard the name through the bare knuckle teams that were trying to, start promotions a few years ago, and, Bobby Guns and all that. I got a guy, Shannon Rich, who lives in Phoenix. So that name has, was circling around the bare knuckle MMA community. And he reached out and said, hey, I'm about to do something that's going to change the industry. And, when somebody tells you that, you always have to make sure that, you're leery about it, because it's like, man, I've been working so hard. Like, what can possibly, change? You've got bare knuckle out there, RAFC, you've got, MMA, and he sat down. He said, look, just listen to me for 30 minutes, and I'm going to explain to you what I'm trying to do. And it was pretty phenomenal. So, most promotions or promotional houses, they try to focus on one discipline, and they try to focus on the promotion. This is something that I was just really dumbfounded, and I just couldn't believe it when I heard it. So the name of the company that I just basically got signed in with is Extreme Kumite International Championships. Now, the Kumite word may sound a little familiar to us 30 or 40-year-olds because the movie Bloodsport. You had Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's how he became the megastar that he was back in the 80s, because of this cult classic movie based on underground fighting. So Mr. Simmons was like, look, I've been following you. He's like, I like what you do. I like the message you give out to the kids. I want to bring you in from the ground up. Like, and for me, I don't mind. Like, we talked about it before, brother. Jimmy Lennon, my hero, my friend, my mentor. I've been watching this guy since I was 7 years old. I don't care that I open up for him until he's no longer wanting to announce. I mean, that may be 90. I mean, he's on a roll, dude. This guy's everywhere still, right? So I'm okay with that. But to be able to start something from the ground up and start something that is going to be global. I mean, this thing has such promise, man. So they want to not only focus on disciplines, bare knuckle, but bare knuckle done the correct way. For those that, and I asked them, I said, well, what do you mean the correct way? You know, I'm pretty familiar with the bare knuckle, you know, fighting. They've done it. A couple of companies have tried to do it. Yeah. The BKB, it didn't go so well. You've got BKFC right now bringing in boxing guys and whatnot, and that really, not really succeeding. But, I mean, bare knuckle goes back, dude, to the early 1900s, even before then. I mean, there's a whole Hall of Fame that I didn't even know about that's based pure on bare knuckle. And, you know, he says that bare knuckle is not being done correctly right now, and we're going to bring it out to the world, and we're going to make it a household sport where we're going to do it with Valiant, and we're going to do it with class, and we're going to do something that's never been done. So not only are they going to get into that, they're going to get into the actual kumite, which is discipline versus discipline, and it's going to be unreal, dude. So you're going to have basically MMA fighting without, you know, being on the floor, and it's going to be unreal. So not only are these guys, and really, that wasn't what really sold me. These guys are bringing in big-time producers from all over the world. I mean, we have, for example, a guy by the name of, you know, Mark Hamilton. And Mark Hamilton is a guy that's been producing for the WWE for 20 years. He's done WrestleMania. He's done the biggest events. He's worked on Raw, written contact for Raw. They're bringing in guys that have done movies. So these guys want to bring in their fighters. They want to hone their fighters from the ground up, and they want to make them superstars. And I don't mean just like, I'm going to make you a superstar on television during the broadcast. I want to do movies. So they have movie producers coming in that'll be making action movies with these guys. So you sign a guy from Fresno. He's a kick-ass fighter. He's good in his bare knuckle. He tries a kumite. You know, he's going back and forth boxing. All of a sudden, he becomes a pretty well-known guy around the world, and they get a movie made from him. Okay, so now you're going full-fledged movie production, combat sports hero, action hero, and it's all for the fighters. These guys want to make sure the fighters are taken care of. And again, it's just a different model that they're going to approach, and it's going to be a worldwide promotion. I mean, these guys are going to be fighting all over the world, and they want to bring it to Vegas. They're going to be doing big things, and I'm pumped, man. So that's what I really like, because you know, you and I are alike. We try to make sure that our stories touch people. Our stories touch the fighters. You know, you had Raging Babe on here, I believe last week or 2 weeks ago, and she's another person that has a story to tell, and that's what you do for us, and that's what we try to do for other people. So for me to get on the ground floor of this and try to make something spectacular is going to be a challenge, but it's going to be something pretty awesome, man. So again, with every silver cloud, there's a rainbow, and we're going to go forward. So.
Well, you know what? I can hear the intensity in your voice, the excitement in your voice, and also the seriousness. And I've known you for a minute, Ralph, and you don't just jump into anything unless you believe in it, unless you've done your research, and unless you get a good feel for it. I like what he said. You said it's not all about just a certain subject. It's about the correct way, thinking of the fighters and capitalizing on every opportunity, whether it's movies featuring the fighters, taking care of them after their fights, and just the whole storyline behind it. Now, hey, man, as that progresses, because I'm going to ask for a date soon to let us know, so we can help push that for you guys once you know it's going to take place.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get him on with you so you can meet this guy. He's pretty intense as well. So.
Hey, bring the co-host or whoever's headlining. Hey, we'll have them on the Fighter's Voice, and they can tell their story. And when are you looking to explode, broadcast, so to speak?
They are trying to make sure that the fans are able to experience as well. Again, with all of the production talent that they brought over 100 years worth of production guys, digital broadcasting geniuses, guys like Ira Glass, who has filmed some of the best events in the world. He's in the Hall of Fame in different states for his production. The WWE production staff that they've been able to bring over. I mean, if worst case scenario, by the end of summer, if this stuff doesn't clear up and there's no fans allowed, I mean, you might want to look for something. But again, they're looking for probably the end of the year. But I mean, they're going to explode. And again, it's for the fans. I mean, this Kumite thing really has intrigued me because, again, the only time we've ever heard of the Kumite has been on the movie, right? And we don't know exactly. And I mean, I've watched Bloodsport probably 300 times, to be honest with you, because it's so dope. And it's just like, damn.
Never gets old, man.
Trying to capture something like this similar, and of course, it won't be on a platform. It'll probably be in a big stage. But damn, just think how cool that would be to match disciplines from all over the world in one tournament, man. I'm hyped about it, man. So, again, I think they were shooting for probably maybe the end of the year, and I think when you bring them on, you could probably ask, because they have more of a timeline, and it probably changes every week with what's going on, the numbers of, the COVID, the cases and the deaths and the regulations from each state and country, and they're really pushing to make this an elegant promotion. And again, all we can hope for is that every promotion, not just theirs, but all around the world, the boxing and everything and the UFC and whatnot, we just are able to enjoy these as fans soon and just keep everybody safe as well.
What sold you on it? I mean, because you listened to the man, and I know you didn't make up your mind right away. What sold you on it? What did he say? What did he offer that made a great impact?
Maybe it's a chance to. I've been at this since full time since 2011, and again, I never complained to anyone about, when Mayweather does the Showtime events that are pay-per-view and Jimmy Lennon's the man. I mean, he's the man, and I come and do whatever I can for him because that's my role. And again, I would open up for him until he's 105 years old. If he wanted to keep announcing, that's fine. Along with the Iron Boy, I left the promotion to come work with the Mayweathers, and now I've come back, and my man Sonny Franco, who does an excellent job, he works out there in California as well, in California Fight League, and done Lion Fight. He controls this show here, so I help him out. Just something that we can build from the ground up that I can basically call, Mayweather Promotion is my family. They will always be my family. I will always be loyal to them. They're number one. They've done tremendous things for me and my family. But it's something, that we can build from the ground up in that discipline to say, hey, this is something we've never seen before, something you have never witnessed in your life other than underground fight clubs. We are bringing to worldwide television, and it's going to take over the whole world, hopefully, and yet I'll be the guy that'll be doing that, bringing these guys in. So it's something just special. I'm always rooting for the fighter. I'm always rooting for the underdog. The fighters, now that I got to see some of the stuff on the back end side, being in this industry for so long, you get to see the sacrifice. You get to see what they go through. These fighters are not millionaires. 99% of them actually are living fight to fight. Yeah. And you see the struggle. You see the commitment. You see what they go through, the dieting, the 2 weeks before the fight where they're basically, they're spitting water out, just so they can get a feel for pretending to drink water and spitting it out because they can't drink it because they're trying to make weight. You've seen it firsthand. You've been through that as far as your reporting is concerned. You've been there right at the weigh-in when these guys' eyes are sunk in like zombies, and yet they do it for the love, and we're there. We're there supporting. So for me to be able to be a part of something that can make these guys be able to live a little bit better, maybe be able to send their kids to college a little bit easier, I'm all for that, man. So in reality, it's not even about so much so being the announcer. It's like, hey man, we are building something that will change the industry for the fighters, and I want to be a part of it when it starts. And that's really the main reason.
It's wonderful when you're a part of something special. I'll keep saying this every now and then. You do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And it sounds like, you're ready to embrace this and just run with this and know that you're going to be a part of something special to make an impact for these fighters, because it's not easy being a fighter.
Correct. It's not easy. And again, with things that are going on right now all over the country, it's hard to stay focused. It's hard to not want to root for the underdogs, not only in promotions, but I mean, all over the country. Right now, the country is hurting right now, and I want to be positive about it. I want to be able to give back and make someone smile any way I can. And you've known me for the longest. I've tried to be as positive as I can. And I think this is going to be fantastic. I think it'll be fantastic because Mr. Simpson, from talking to me, is not like, hey, man, we're all going to get rich. It's like, I want to take care of these fighters. This is why I'm doing this, because I have a vision to be able to change the industry, and not by being a mogul in the industry, but you bring in people like a Mark Hamilton who has done a worldwide broadcast in front of 135 million people, like a WrestleMania, and you bring in these guys that have done huge events. It is going to be hard to fail. And for the fighters that get into this, that really commit, man, they're going to be set. So it's really, really cool that you get to be a part of something so special. And, you know, we've got good guys there. There's an advisory board. I mean, they brought me in to be on the advisory board.
Awesome.
They've allowed me to be able to speak my piece. We're going to sit down and talk about the events. You know, what would work, what's not going to work, what have you done in the past, what kind of lights are we going to be dealing with, should we do special effects? I mean, everything that's important to me is something that I think that would be great to be able to give my feedback on, and you know, and be able to be a part of the company. So it's fantastic.
That's great, man. It sounds like you're really running forward with this. Hey, I got a question coming in from a buddy of yours too, Manny Metz. What's it like working with Jimmy Lennon Jr.?
What was the question? What's up, Manny Metz? What's going on, baby? What's the question again? I'm sorry.
Hey, what's it like working with Jimmy Lennon Jr.?
You know, I'll tell you what. It was. It's something that I never thought in my wildest dreams I would be able to do. Again, from the last time we spoke, I mean, I was 7, 8 years old, sitting in my underwear with my family, watching Jimmy Lennon announce the Tyson fights and the Chavez fights on Showtime, and as you just see him progress and you see the wonderful things he's done, to be able to sit there and sit next to the man and pick his brain, and to let him know, to humble yourself and say, you know what, you're my hero. You know, it's hard for men to be able to not bow down, but to just, you know, to submit to someone like that and say, hey, you know what, I want to be where you're at, but at the same time, you're my hero, and I'm blessed to be able to be next to you and to be able to work with you. He's become a mentor. I pick his brain. I've asked questions. I've asked stories, you know, on what's worked for him, what's not, where he's traveled, and just everything. And in doing so, he's opened up to me, and we've become great friends. And now it's like working with a buddy. And, you know, like I told him once before, I said, you know, I don't care where you're at in the world. If it's Bulgaria, if it's, you know, Antarctica, and you need me there to open up for you, I don't care if it's one fight, I'll be there. And that's just the type of person that he is. He's a wonderful human being. When you speak to him on the phone, he's very kind. He doesn't shoo you off, and he gives you all of his attention when you ask for it. And he doesn't have to. You know, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to do that, and other announcers really don't do that. But I think that I've earned his respect, and I've done what I have to do to be able to be in that position. And to answer the question bluntly, man, it's pretty awesome. You know, not every day you get to work with your hero. I mean, usually your heroes are dead and gone by the time, you know, you get to my age, and yet there I am working with a living legend, and he's announcing like he's still 30 years old, man. The guy is everywhere. Japan, I mean, I looked at his schedule. Japan, Vegas, Japan, New York, back to Vegas, California, Japan, New York. And I said, hey, don't you ever get tired, brother? I mean, like, he says, you know, the excitement of what we're all doing, it keeps me going, man. And I truly believe that he really is a fan first. He talks to me about fights, strategy, and I'm just sitting there like, man, you know, you're really paying attention. You know, so it's a good time, man. It's a good time, and I'm pretty blessed to be able to experience that with him.
That's awesome. I noticed on the big fights, man, I mean, this guy has a great memory. He doesn't even really use his cards. He'll glance at it and just say 2 paragraphs without even looking again. I mean, the man is a true professional.
What's crazy about that, Richie, is that, like, he has it so nailed down that his script is pretty much, if you notice, it's pretty much the same as far as the intros are concerned.
Yeah.
But he's sharp. He sits there on the plane And obviously he already knows the intro, and he's done it so many times that it's like the back of his hand. But, you know, for me, I like to read off of the card and glance up because
Sure.
I don't want to make a mistake.
Sure.
I'm just anal about that. For me, making
You're not
a mistake,
alone.
yeah, it sucks. It sucks. And you know, you've announced a lot of cards, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to make mistakes. So for him, it's like washing your hands, taking a shower, something that we just take for granted. It's just there. You know, the guy, and I don't want to bring this out because when I mentioned it to him one time, he kind of was like, "Oh, you can see that," but the man chews gum in the ring while he's announcing. Unbelievable. The guy's amazing. I'm just like, you know, Jimmy, how do you chew gum when you're announcing?
That's like the same comparison as a fighter fighting with one hand behind his back.
Correct. It's just it is like it's like getting up and putting your underwear on and putting your shoes on and walking outside the door every single day. The man has it. He hasn't lost it. He's on point. And I really appreciate the fact that he studied the Spanish language. I mean, he loves going to Mexico. He came to Phoenix for a Combate America show, and he's like, "Hey, take me to the best hole-in-the-wall Mexican restaurant there is here." And I did. And he loved it. And that's what's so cool about him is that he embraces every culture, every person, every human being. The guy is just a robot. You know, and why wouldn't you want to learn from somebody like that, especially characteristics that might be able to prolong your career?
Well, I tell you what, Ralph, you are in a great position. I mean, to learn from the best. I mean, if I have a question, I have to just, you know, I'll study film or I'll watch it over and over again. But to have that relationship and not only get the answer from somebody who thinks they know everything, but somebody who actually knows everything and opens up his map and says, okay, what part do you want to know? What's the scenario? What do you need to know? I'll give you the answer and then some. I mean, no better place to be than to, you know, I don't even want to compare the two when Steve Young waited his turn for Joe Montana. But you learned from the best, and you're in a great position there. Ralph, I gotta ask you this, man. And I wanted to comment on it, but I didn't want to take away from what you had going on. That was one hell of a question that you asked Dusty Baker. Let all the viewers, the fans, know exactly what you asked him, how long it took for him to answer, only because it was so deep, he was thinking about it, and he had such a great answer. How did you come up with that question, and what did you think about his answer and his reaction?
Here's the thing that's crazy about that question is that people who really know me know that I'm a baseball guy first and foremost. I love boxing. I loved it before I got into the business, and I really super love it now because my life is involved and surrounded by it. But I am still a baseball guy. I am a baseball guy 24/7. I played until I couldn't play anymore. And I coach, and I still coach, and the game for me is what I grew up on. So, me, before the Diamondbacks got to Arizona, I was a huge Dodger fan. And I mean, huge Dodger fan. So was my father. And I was born in 1978, but he was still playing with the Dodgers at that time. So, like, when I got to be 5 or 6 years old, my dad would tell me, hey, check out this guy. He would have pictures. This is Dusty Baker. This is the baddest guy, you know, this and that. So I already knew of Dusty Baker as a youth, and growing up, the Dodgers were my team. Yep. Darryl Strawberry, Eric Davis, Mike Marshall, Steve Stacks, Mike Scioscia, Mickey Hatcher, Eddie Murray, Valenzuela, Hershiser. Dude,
Pedro Guerrero.
Pedro Guerrero. It was the man. Jerry Curl and all. He was the man.
Yep.
You know? And the crazy thing about that is that when he went to the Giants, I was already a Diamondback fan, but it was like, man, you play for the Dodgers and you have the guts to go to the Giants and manage, and he had some of the best teams in Major League Baseball history. So for me, shout out to Brian Custer too, because that podcast is getting pretty good, and he decided to jump in and I enjoyed being with you.
Let me slow you down real quick. Let's let everybody know so they know what question I'm talking about. You were asked to be on the show. What show was it? And you, the guest was Dusty Baker, and you asked the question.
No, it was a question that he said, do you have a question for Dusty Baker?
Right.
Because Brian was asking. I said, yeah, I have a question. The question is, name the best team that you played on and the best team that you managed, and if they played each other with their best pitcher, their aces going head-to-head in one game, who would win? And he was stuck for like 30 seconds. Man, I couldn't believe it. But at the end of the day, those teams that Barry Bonds was playing at an ultimate peak performance level was 93 to 2002. The Giants dominated the NL West. They were balling, man. Yeah. And so he had trouble trying to figure out which team was better in that era, because that's when he had coached there, right?
Yeah.
He knew the 77 Dodgers was the best team. That was a fantastic team. That team was stacked. And he said the winner of that game would be the team that he was playing on. And they had a big chuckle about it. And, of course, that was the 77 Dodgers. So the guy is fantastic, man. Dusty Baker, to me, is one of the most brilliant minds. Everywhere he goes, he's a winner. You put him in Cincinnati with a very low payroll, and he makes a winner. You go take him to Chicago, they're already in the playoffs. I mean, this dude is awesome. And I think the Astros are going to win another title with him there.
You could be right. You could be right. I met him on one of his last years with the Dodgers when they played the Braves, and what stuck in my mind was the size of his hands. I mean, he had some huge hands. My gosh, nice guy too. Very nice guy.
Crazy. The guy has a winery. I mean, he's got vineyards, and he's already in his mid-70s, and he's sitting there walking around, kidding around like he's still 50 years old. And that just goes to show you that when you're working in this industry, in any industry that you love, you're not really working, and it's just it keeps you young, man. So
it does.
Shout out to them.
It does.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been wanting to ask you. Okay, you said you played baseball. What position did you play, and what number did you wear?
I was a pitcher, and I was always number 11. The problem with me is that I was 5'9", and my fastball probably hit 88 tops. And when you get up to that higher level, Arizona is a really good baseball state, like California.
Yeah.
And in my high school senior year, I was planning on trying to go to a college here, and I had my son my senior summer year. So I had just graduated, and then the birth of my firstborn was at that time. So for me to be able to go to college and not provide for my son was unacceptable to me. Yeah. And so I said, okay, my career is over. Now it's time to be a dad. And so I had help with my parents, because my parents, they really helped me with my son. They said, you're not going to play baseball, but you're going to keep going to school. So they helped me there with the first couple of years with my child. And we were basically a family. We were all a family. And now my son's a nurse practitioner. He's good, and I don't have to worry about him. But those 2 or 3 years, they really meant a lot, because I was still young. I was 19, man. And I regret it, and I regret the fact that I didn't go further. I got into real estate right after that first year. I got out of college, and I had my associates, and I started working for a real estate company, which that's what I still do now after 20 years. And I guess it worked out, but I wish I would have gone and continued my education. And still to this day, I think that if I end up having the time, I want to fulfill that. I want to fulfill that, because it doesn't matter what age you get your degree. And a shout out to any young kids that are listening. Go back and get it, man, because it changes everything. It doesn't matter what age you are. Just in your own personal pride, it changes the way you look at not only yourself, but the way other people will perceive you. And it's just it's a goal of mine still that I have to go back and finish.
Well, there you go. Hey, let's give your son a shout out, man, for accomplishing that.
Yeah, my son Brandon, man, big shout out to him. I mean, he stuck through it. He wanted to do this, and he was working with a COVID team down here in Phoenix for a while. They moved him back up to where he goes. He's with the cardiac unit, so he saves people's lives when they come in, with heart problems, heart attacks, and he works really hard. They got him on the night shift, and I hardly get to see him right now, but he understands when I go away, it's for him and it's for his siblings, and now I have to understand that he's doing that to save people's lives. So it's a full circle, man. I go away, my early days of announcing to provide for them and get him through college, and yet now he's having to do the same, but for other people that come in and saving their lives. So it's full circle, dude. And he's a good kid. I love him very much.
Hey, you're making it happen, and you should be proud, and I'm sure he's proud of all your accomplishments and what you're doing. Hey, man, I got to ask you this, man. I texted you, I think it was earlier this week, and I said, bro, you motivate me, man. I mean, you've been hitting the bag, you've been working out, you've been getting your work in, and I notice you do that not only for yourself personally, but it gives you a new understanding, and like you said on top of the show, understand these fighters and knowing what they go through, the work ethic that they have to do, and yet, their diet and make it just full time. I mean, we go at it when we can, and yet they make it full time. But talk to us about your workouts. I've seen you working out. I've seen you progress since some of your first workouts. And how much a part of your life is it?
I opened my mouth. This was actually last November, and we do a Masters tournament, which is 35 and over here in Phoenix. And I told my friend Sonny Gutierrez, who's a big trainer down here. He has a gym. He's the one that hosts these tournaments.
Yeah.
And I said, Sonny, you know what, man? I said, I kind of been living the good life a little bit too much as far as not really paying attention to what I'm doing. I got in an accident about 3 years ago, and I kind of let myself talk myself into not having to keep myself in better shape, and it kind of just, I thought my metabolism would still be that of an 18-year-old,
right?
And yet I'm 40 years old, and even with this COVID thing, man, I stayed inside for 8 weeks, and I put on 17 pounds. I mean, us Latinos, after 30, bro, the metabolism kind of runs away and hides and doesn't come back. So,
and the tortillas taste better too, so watch out, man.
Dude, the tortillas were aplenty, man. We use the Instacart, and we order 2 dozen every other day, bro. It was a bad situation, but I committed to myself to make sure that I would be around for my children. And again, I've been saying this since day one. I understand what a professional baseball player goes through because I have done their workouts. I have, hit off of someone that's 95 miles an hour. I've learned how to hit to the right side, how to bunt, how to move a guy over, how to hit a relay, how to do these drills because I've played baseball all my life. But I can't talk about the sport, and I cannot be a part of it and not truly understand and have a respect for these guys if I don't go through it. So I do a full 10 to 12 rounds of workouts every single day. And I tell you, it kills me. These guys, I don't know how they do it, especially when they put that damn sauna suit on.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much dehydrated almost every day, and I have been for the last month since I've been going back. But I have always made sure that I spar. I spar with one of the biggest heavyweights here, Waldo Cortez, that's going to fight on June 9th at Top Rank. And, he lays into me as much as anybody else. But, you have to experience some of this stuff in order to get a better respect. These guys, it's crazy. I mean, what they go through, what they put their bodies through, what they put their families through.
Not for everybody, man.
Yeah, it's not. There's guys that walk into this gym, and they look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, brother. They look like, damn, this is the most fit guy on earth.
Right.
They got muscles coming out of everywhere. And 2 rounds later, they're throwing up on the floor.
Exactly.
Because it is a different workout. It is a different mentality. And I am just trying to not only just get in better shape, but again, right along with these guys. So these guys say, you know what, this guy's not full of shit. He's actually in the gym working 10 to 12 rounds, trying to get in better, trying to understand what we go through so that he can better talk about it. Because if you don't go through it, you talk about it, but yet you've never experienced it, so it's kind of rough. So I have committed to the Masters tournament. I'll be fighting in that in November, and we'll see how it goes.
Where's that taking place at, man? I'm gonna have to take a look at that.
In Goodyear, Arizona, man. We actually. We're probably going to have to bring you in and hire you to do the play-by-play because normally I do it, but I'll be fighting. So it's a worldwide tournament that he streams every year. We get about 20,000 views live, and it's become one of the biggest tournaments in the country. So we might have to link up on that and bring you in.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll make that happen. Hey, here's some questionnaire, and of course, here's the big question. I'm not going to shy away because I already got 3 people asking the same question. What's it like working for the money team? And personally, what's it like working with Floyd Mayweather, and what is he like? What have you noticed about him that tells you, you know what, he's just a human being, except, a lot more money than we have?
I'm going to tell you, and I'm pretty sure that you've seen the last couple of posts. I'm going to be honest with you, I have had some issues working with these guys, and not from them, but from people that I thought that were close to me that really don't really care for him, but they lash out at me because they can't lash out at him, And what I keep telling these guys is, look, I got in with Mayweather Promotions because of a guy by the name of Bob Ware, and who came, that was taking care of a guy by the name of Linnell Bellows, and was training a guy by the name of Panchito Cedevaca that fought Manuel Navarrete for a world title a couple months ago in LA before COVID. Now, I announced the guy liked my style. We became friends. He went back and said, "Hey guys, we got this dude in Phoenix, man. We need an announcer. You guys got to bring him. Like, he's full of energy. He's cool. He doesn't act all crazy. Like, we got to try him." And it took me actually a whole nother year. So what I did was, they knew of me, and instead of me getting upset or saying, "Okay, I'm the hell with me, the hell with them, they're ignoring me," I actually went and bought front row seats to every one of their fights that they had at Samstown for a whole year. It was like 5 of them. I took a bunch of my friends. We started supporting the fighters, and it just became where they saw, like, dude, this guy is not like trying to be opportunistic. This guy is actually wants to be part of the family. Yeah. So when they gave me the opportunity, it was a showbox card, and I'm sitting there. Floyd comes up and he looks at me and he says, nice tux. Or he says something like that about my bow tie. I said, "Thank you." He says, "Might have to get that from you," and he gives me daps and he walks off. And that was my first ever interaction with him. Okay, so I'm thinking there, I'm like, the show hasn't even started. I'm trying to concentrate. I'm not trying to mess up. We're going worldwide. And the man just comes up and gives me daps, right? So I'm like, okay. Now, I got slack from a lot of the Mexican fans that were really still hurt that Floyd had beaten their heroes. I mean, it was De La Hoya. It was Pacquiao. I mean, those fights had already taken place. And yet I walk into this thinking, okay, how is this going to work out, right? Like, how am I going to fit into this? And I'll tell you what, Kenny Craig, who is the director of operations for Mayweather Promotions, Nicole Craig, who works operations as well, VP, and Leonard Allerby, have been the nicest people that I have worked with in the industry. They take such good care of me. Floyd has become a friend, and it is so much so that he took me to Japan with him when he fought Tenshin. And that was a surprise to me because I really honestly thought, okay, yes, I've been here for 3 years already at this point in time, but we have a big event. It's Ryzen that's involved. They're probably going to use their own. They have, Lenny Hart over there, who's like the queen of MMA, the lady that, screams out the name. She's fantastic, wonderful human being. And I said, there's no way I'm going to get to go. And yet Leonard called me and says, "Hey, we want you to go with us. We want you to announce Floyd." And that's when I knew, okay, I have earned their respect. I am part of the family. And I tell you, they treat me good. Floyd behind closed doors, and I keep trying to reiterate this, he is a wonderful human being. We have a Thanksgiving drive, 3,000 meals that we give out every Thanksgiving. We do a back-to-school drive. Floyd gives out as many backpacks as he can. I mean, we do a lot of things that the media really doesn't harp on. And I don't understand why people are getting really upset that it went public that he paid $88,000 for George Floyd's funeral expenses. I know that for some people, it is a way of them thinking that he's just looking for an opportunity to be Floyd. But I'll tell you that if he would have hit it, and if it wouldn't have went public, somehow, some way it would have leaked. Just like the other funerals that he takes care of, and just like other things that he does without anybody knowing, it would have got out eventually. So maybe it was a way of saying, hey, here's my 88, where all my other boxers at, where all my other promoters at. Yeah. Here I am. Help me. Let's continue this. Yeah. And I truly believe that it wasn't malicious. He is a very giving person. He is a very loving person. And honestly, before I started working with Mayweather Promotions, they all know it, that I was a huge Pacquiao fan. And I still like the fighter. I still like Manny. But I've become a friend of Floyd's, and I care for him very deeply. I care for Leonard very deeply, and they have taken care of me. They stand by me. They've given me opportunities like to do play-by-play, which, that's pretty difficult. I mean, it's not easy to sit there and to do a play-by-play for 4 hours. I mean, it's not. It's pretty hard, and they know that. And they know that I have been learning on the job, so to speak, because I had never done it on a broadcast before. And they let me be me. They don't tell me, hey, don't act this way, don't post this, don't post that. They just let me be me. And that's what I like, is that they know that I love them. They know that we're family. They know that when Leonard tells these guys, this is my guy, he's announcing, you're not, we're doing this is my guy, they stick up for me, and I know that that we're in a good place. So it's very cool. Very intimidating sometimes. Sometimes my friends don't understand that how I can like someone that they think is very brash. But again, it's all about branding. It's all about, you know, being your character. Maybe Floyd likes to be the villain at times in some fights, and maybe he's experiencing something different. I mean, he's had a rough last 6 months. His kid's mom passed away. His uncle, Roger, who was very important to him, has passed away. And for sometimes, you know, and the COVID thing, like I said, for me, I had a good opportunity to stay with my kids and my family and really tell them how much I love them and how much I appreciate them letting me go out and try to conquer the world for them. Because sometimes my kids, I mean, my daughter's 17, my son, my little boy's 8. You know, they want to know why dad is not and not at home, and they see dad on TV, but it's not the same. Dad's not there; he's on the TV. So, COVID really helped me get in touch with my children and really harp on, look, I do this for you guys. I know you don't understand it right now, but you will. And I think this time at home really changed Floyd. I mean, he is really committed to wanting to be a trainer. He is committed to spending more time at the gym, with the family, with his children, and I see a whole nother beautiful individual there, and I'm very happy to be a part of that. So it is cool. Sometimes it's very rough because, you know, if you're standing around with him and you guys are going out somewhere and you're in an area where he's at, I mean, he gets rushed. He gets rushed everywhere he goes. So and that part is kind of hard because you got to basically deal with a lot of fans in melee 24/7 if you're in his vicinity. But other than that, behind closed doors, he's wonderful.
Hey, they can say what they may, but at the end of the day, numbers don't lie. And I will say this: when you're in a position like Floyd Mayweather, they're going to have something to say that, yeah, because he wrote a check, and then they'll have something to say as well. Why didn't he write a check? So that's just the way it is. But you know what? One thing about him, he can care less. He's going to do what he needs to do and what he feels is right. I'll tell you a quick story, man, and. You know, a lot of people, they'll disagree with me. A lot of people disagree with me. They'll think that I don't follow Canelo because I'm rooting for the other guy since he's been fighting, only because I want to see a good fight. I'm a Floyd Mayweather fan. Money May. Me and my son, we were at I want to say it's a fair. One of these fairs, and you got to shoot these baskets, Ralph. You know, you make 3 in a row. Well, when Floyd would hit the mittens, he'd look at the camera and he'd say, "All day, Money May. All day, Money May." So I'd get the basketball. I wouldn't even look at the hoop, and I'd look at my son and just shoot it and say, "All day, Money May. All day, Money May." So I'd make my 3 or my 2 out of 3. Then Richie would come in. He'd look at me and say, "All day, Money May. All day." And we'd do that all over the house.
Nice.
And Richie's mom would just say, "Guys, stop already." Because we do something, whether it's washing the dishes, taking the garbage out, we go, "All day, Money May." We embrace it. We didn't see it as, okay, we're taking the garbage out or we're cleaning up. We do it, but do it cocky. You know, like we have this, "All day, Money May." Whether we're sweeping or any, so you see what I'm saying? We didn't even do it when we're brushing our teeth, man. True story.
And the crazy thing is that he gives you the motivation when he's in there and you're in the gym and he's doing 15-minute rounds, and yet he's doing it without any cameras there. He doesn't do it just when there's cameras there. I mean, the guy really commits to what he's doing, and when he commits to something, it's done correctly. A lot of people gave him a lot of flack for going to Japan and fighting this Tension kid. I mean, this Tension kid, if you look at my video on Twitter, the one I filmed, Tension's throwing. He's giving Floyd every bit of ounce. I don't care what anybody says. Look at my version of the video at a different angle. Tension's wailing on him, dude. Tension is trying to do what he can, and yet, you know, you're in there with the best of the world, and it's very difficult. So, you know, you can't hate on the guy for going and picking up 9.5 million.
You can't.
But I want to tell people something really quick about this, real quick, and then you can ask me whatever you want to ask me. For someone, they're like, what a stupid idea to pay this guy $9 million for a minute and a half. You think so? That company, after that fight, every time they had an event, and I don't know what the numbers are right now, but Tension now is a global star. When he fights, people all over the place are watching this kid now, regardless of what happened with him and Floyd. People watch this kid now. Now he is Japan's even bigger star. He is Asia. He's all over the place, man. So, and you spend $9 million on a commercial, or you spend $9 million bringing Floyd in, and he changes your company for the rest of his life. You got to understand, man, that there's reasons for everything, and I'm not hating on them for doing what they did, and I'm not hating on Floyd for what he did, because at the end of the day, if you offer it and you call somebody out and you're paying $10 million, he's going to go handle his business. Ryzen became a bigger company because of it, and it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Hey, well, I'm going to keep it real, man, and I'm going to get a lot of slack for this. Canelo became bigger after that defeat. He's learned more, and he adopted the defensive style, and the rest is history. He's definitely right now the face of active boxing right now. That's Canelo, in my opinion. You still got your warriors that have been there, longevity, that have earned that respect. And one thing I do want to say, hey, you had the best seat in the house, but all I got to say is when I was watching that at 3 o'clock in the morning, or whatever time it was in the morning, Floyd went over there and said, okay, let's give the people their money's worth. The minute that kid threw a left hook with bad intentions, Floyd had to remind him right away, okay, I'm going to let you know who I am, okay? I do this for a living.
Yes, it was a left hook that landed, and that's what I'm saying. Like, when I sat down and I started to film with my camera because I wanted to get a different angle. I mean, there's 60,000 people in there, and he hit him with a first left, and he caught him.
Yeah.
And I think at that point in time, Floyd's like, okay, I was gonna work with you here a little bit, but you're not gonna embarrass me.
No.
And Floyd just took care of business.
Yeah.
You go back and look at the fight.
Yeah.
It's the first combination, and Tension lands a good, solid left hook right on the jaw of Floyd. And Floyd's like, oh, I ain't having this shit.
No.
We're not doing this right now. You're not gonna embarrass me. And then the rest is history. So.
Yeah, exactly. Very well said. And I was watching, man. Did a good job, my man. Especially them names rolling off that tongue. Because I was waiting. Hey, I was just as nervous as you were, and I told you this story before. Because I'm telling everybody, I said, yeah, here it is right here. This is the platform right here. He's letting them have it, and hey, you did a great job.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, it was a rough setting because I get off the plane at 2 a.m. the night before. They send me to practice. They want to make sure that I know where to stand.
Yeah.
And I get a script in Japanese. I can't read it, and I've got someone who was actually like doing the luggage. For moving around the props and whatnot.
Right.
He had to actually be my translator, so he got upgraded and elevated to another position. So he basically followed me around for a day, a 24-hour time frame. But I need to go back there. I mean, the people are so loving. The culture is amazing. The Tokyo is so clean. I mean, I didn't see one piece of garbage on the floor, and I only got to walk around for a little while. But their subways are beautiful. The city's beautiful. The people are beautiful, and I would like to go back soon. But unbelievable trip, unbelievable experience, and I was just glad to be a part of it.
There you go. Well, let's talk about how you embrace during this time off right now. And it's I'm going to talk about how history repeats itself. Because there's some pictures of your son. I believe he's coming in his underwear, and he's being announced by father. Coming into the ring with the WWE, the crowd goes crazy. He embraced it. He was in character, man. And when you see moments like that, you know, hey, that's what it's all about. Talk to us about that special moment, man, and what it was like for your son to see himself on your channel.
It's pretty crazy, man. He has been for the last 2 years practicing. He embraces. I was a huge wrestling fan. I mean, in the 80s, who wasn't, right? You had Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, Junkyard Dog. I mean, as a matter of fact, I just gave him my first edition LJN wrestling superstar dolls, the oversized ones that were the original. I just gave him like 20 of them. Not to play with, but I gave them to him as to collect because they're going to be worth some money. Those are hard to get right now. But, I mean, I was a huge fan. And he is taking it to the next level. I mean, he's so, my father took me to these events, and I remember it clear as day. My first event was Ricky Steamboat versus Jake the Snake Roberts in Phoenix, and I was so excited, man. I couldn't wait to get down there. And 30 minutes later, my poor dad, he's asleep right next to me, right? So I'm basically enjoying this event by myself. I don't give a shit. I'm loving it. It was fantastic. But my son, and I have to give a shout out to Alberto Del Rio, even though he's going through a little bit of something right now, and God bless him. But he actually did a favor for me. He knew that my son was a huge wrestling fan, and we got to go to a WWE event, and my son's favorite is Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, and they weren't even supposed to be there that night, yet they ended up backstage, and we had Sin Cara, who's another Mexican wrestling superstar, take us back there, and my son got to meet him. So that's the equivalent of me, like meeting Hulk Hogan, man. So that right there, not only, that just took that to the stratosphere. So every time we're at the house, every Saturday or Sunday, when I get home from work or doing whatever I'm doing, it's WrestleMania night. And, he has a replica belt that he got for his birthday, and we wrestle. And for me, my dad would never do that to me. I had to use a pillow because my dad just said, I'm not wrestling with you. That's crazy. But I remember what it was like when I was 7 and 8 years old, wrestling with my wrestling buddy dolls and my pillows, and pretending that my Chucky doll, the Child's Play doll, was Iron Sheik or whatever. Yeah. And it means so much to me because I'm able to share those moments with him. And he has his WWE mic. He practices his announcing, and hopefully one day he gets good enough to where he can follow in my footsteps. I mean, he's right there. I mean, he knows the pitches and how long to hold already, and he's 8 years old. So hopefully by the time he's 18 or 19, man, he can get it down, and he can be able to follow and work with me on a card or two. So that'd be great.
Hey, man, call things as if they're not as if they are, and it's going to happen, my man. The only thing I don't want to see, and I'm going to be honest with you, okay? I don't want to see him announcing you, and I don't want to see Dad coming down the hallway in his calzones, okay? I don't want to see that. Don't post that. Don't tag me on that. We don't want to see that right now, my man.
No, that'll never happen, man. He wears his little shorts, and he likes he thinks he's Vader, Big Van Vader. I said, well, you gotta lift a little bit of weight, buddy, before you can be Vader in your dream. But you will never see Dad in his calzones. I'll tell you that.
There you go, Ralph. Let's talk about June, man. June, we're getting live boxing back. Top Rank is going to be the first one to say, okay, let's make it happen. There's not going to be anybody in the crowd except for the people that actually need to be there, the governing bodies, those that are in critical positions that need to be there. The fans aren't going to be there. Fighting, how do you think it's going to be for these fighters, these boxers, to make a living without a crowd? Because they vibe off the crowd.
Correct. But they actually get the job done in sparring without a crowd, right?
Very true.
There's two sides to the coin. I feel bad for the hometown fighters that have basically been fighting in front of their hometown crowd their whole life. These 5-0 fighters, like for an Iron Boy promotion here out of Phoenix, that have been fighting at the Celebrity Theater. I tell anybody that would listen to me that the Iron Boy Promotions card in Phoenix and some of the Raging Babe cards that she had here in Phoenix, I mean, dude, Arizona's a boxing town, Tucson, boxing city. I mean, there's 3,000 people, 4,000 people that come up and fill this arena up every time there's a fight there. So these guys are used to having this crowd motivate them, especially when they're in trouble. You're not going to have that now, right? You're going to have basically one ear on the commentator because it's going to be so damn quiet. You're going to be able to hear your corner. You're going to be able to hear. So it's going to be weird, man. It's going to be weird. I mean, I pay attention to the UFC, and their Ultimate Fighter platform has kind of been like that. So some of these guys are used to it. The boxers that spar and get really dirty and spar for 8 to 12 weeks, they are used to fighting without a crowd. But at the end of the day, man, I know these fighters are going to be disappointed because it's hard to really give, in my opinion, everything you've got, and then something happens where you're stunned or you get knocked down. Some of these fighters, they live off their hometown crowds, man.
Yes, they do.
And they live off crowds in general, right? So, like, what happens to your intestinal fortitude when there's no crowd to get you going? Where do you find that extra oomph somewhere to say, well, shit, man, normally my tia and my nana and everybody's back here behind the blue corner cheering me on. I got my whole family back here and friends. They're not there anymore. I can't depend on them. So now the man from the boys are going to show their true self here. And I hope to God, man, that we don't go another year or 2 years with this, because it'll be difficult. I mean, I'm a fan first. We're fans first, and Dude, I miss it. I miss it. I mean, I've watched every damn old fight that there is over the last 9 weeks. I mean, I've watched Hagler Hearns like 73 times.
Never gets old, man. That
hey,
that never gets old. That first combination right off the first round.
That's my favorite fight, bro. That's my favorite fight. And it's helped me too to really go back and really appreciate the sport even more. I mean, the 30 for 30, the no mas. I watched that 3 times. Those guys were fighters, man. Those guys were giving everything they had, and some of these fighters have it. You've got some fighters that maybe are learning to appreciate that and maybe learning the steps to get to that level. And we're going to see fighters now that we probably wouldn't have paid attention to that much get put on a national showcase, right? So you've got Top Rank. I think they're doing 3 fights in 1 week.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe some of these guys that you didn't really pay attention to, that now, because we're starving for live action, we're going to get to see these guys, and maybe we find a gem there. Maybe we find someone that we like. With me, as soon as I saw Manny, like I said, and Edwin Valero, and Hassim Hamed, like these guys, dude, were like, holy shit, this Prince guy he's coming in on a magic carpet, dude, or he's coming in on this and that. Like, I took to him right away. I take some of these fighters right away. I just see styles in them that I really like. So maybe we find a couple of gems that we wouldn't have. So maybe this kid may not get to fight in front of a hometown crowd, but maybe this national audience may not win, but he may be able to win some new fans. So again, there's 2 sides to every coin, and
there is.
I just want everybody to be safe and to succeed. And my man Joe Martinez, man, on his IG page, they put that swab in his nose, 6 inches in, or his mouth rather, on his tonsil, and he's like, dude, this is horrible, but it needs to be done. We all have to be safe, and as long as everybody's quarantined and safe, we can continue with these house shows. Well,
you just scared the hell out of me, Ralph, because I got to get that done next Tuesday. Because I'm going to get knee surgery next Wednesday, and they have to do that. So I've seen it done, and I'm thinking, okay, I'll worry about that when that comes. Now I'm going to have nightmares because I had Ramblin Ralph on the show, man.
Dude, go to Joe Martinez's page, and the second time he did it, he closed his eyes, and it was easier for him.
Okay, I'll do that.
You know what they say, man? If you know it's coming, and you're not used to having stuff stuck down your throat. I mean, it's a natural gag reflex. So, I mean, that swab was like 6 inches, and the second time, he just got used to closing his eyes and did what he had to do. But hopefully, that this all ends, and It's good to get a test anyway, man. You should get a test anyway.
Absolutely.
That what's going on, and I know that you've adhered to being safe and not being reckless out there, because you're a good guy. So I got to get one too in July. We're gonna do a Mayweather show, I do believe, here pretty soon. Okay. And we're going.
That was my next question. The question that I've asked you: how do you think this is going to progress, and what's your take on fighting without a crowd? I'm going to ask you an even deeper question. I was going to be, what's it like announcing with no crowd? Because I know you vibe off that. I know it fires you up just like the fighters.
I'm in the shower. I'm in the car. I'm in the backyard. I'm watching a movie. I'm doing a mortgage loan. I'm on the phone with you here talking on the show. And the whole time I'm doing that, I'm announcing fights in my head. So, to me, you have to be on your A game. Bruce Buffer did a fantastic job the other night, because it is very difficult to be in a huge arena with no crowd, because not only do you have to make sure that you're on point, because everybody's paying attention. The crowd does not, muffle the sound. Right. I mean, you are there. Yeah. But the reverb in buildings with no crowd is horrendous, because the fans soak up the vibes from the sound. They soak up the energy and the waves that come out of these speakers. When there is no crowd, it is echoed and bounced right back to you. If you ask anybody that does a mic check before anybody walks into big arenas, it's bad, man. So it's not only having to deal with, okay, shit, I can't mess up because everybody's hearing me 100%, because there's no crowd, there's nothing else around. You have to really be on point and not mess up, because you've got stuff coming back at you, and it sounds crazy. So for me, I'm just going to pretend that there's 2,000 people in Sam's Town, and I'm going to do what I've always done. And again, it's for the fighters, and I'm going to give them everything that I got, and I'm going to pronounce their names the way they're supposed to be pronounced, and we're just going to go business as usual.
There you go, man. You're making it happen. Yeah, those mic checks with out anybody in there, man. They got that little split second of comeback on you, that little delay, and it kind of, yeah.
I mean, I was in the Barclays. I think it was in the Barclays Center. I did a PBC show, and I was like 45 minutes early, and I was like, I had to use the house mic. They're like, yeah, just go in there and mic check real quick because we're going to do the Showtime stream off of that mic. And I'll tell you, bro, it was really, really difficult. In Japan, the building was gigantic, so I had some reverb. But the worst one was when I did the Shane Mosley fight. He fought here in Glendale against David Avanesian in his last fight ever. Man, it was really bad because they put most of the fans on one side of the arena, and I had this whole other side to me that was completely bare, and the speakers just happened to be facing that way.
Wow.
And it really messed me up.
Did it make you talk slower? Were you talking a little slower, trying to catch up?
Yeah, kind of like draw things out, right? It's like, and in this.
Yeah, exactly.
So you
try
can
to find it.
You can hear yourself, man.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's not an easy thing, man. You got one take wonder in there, and you can't mess up. So it gets pretty difficult at times.
Hey, man, before we let you go, man, because you've just been sharing everything about you, your personal life, having fun. I knew this would be a good conversation. I just knew it because I was watching some of your posts leading up, and I've reached out to you even before and said, we got to get you back on the show, man. I'm excited about that new journey you're about to take. And knowing you don't accept everything that comes your way. You consider it, of course, but you seem amped about this. You seem energized about this. And it's almost like it's a piece of you. Like some of it is, you're not going to just do it as a job. You're going to give it your all. Is that safe to say?
Yes. Anything that I do for anyone, I really want to express this because I think I have a hard time getting this across. A lot of people may take me as, dude, this guy posts 20 times a day, or, this guy doesn't stop talking on, all this stuff on his social media. And there's a reason for that. I don't have an ad agency. I don't have an agent as of yet. I don't have a marketing team. I am my agent. Yeah. I am my marketing team. Yeah. I am my branding ambassador. I am my talent manager. I am my agent negotiator. It's me. And I have my girl Mercedes that really helped me with some of this stuff. But for the most part, it's just really her and I that deal with a lot of stuff that I have to deal with. So yeah. I am going to post 20 times a day because that's what I have. And when I say something like, hey, man, I really want everybody to have a good day. I really want everybody to try their best. I really want everybody to give what they can give. Because to be honest with you, it's not about us, man. It's about that 9-year-old fan that's in the crowd that's like, wow, yeah. That was cool. That sounded cool. Just like I did when Howard Finkel announced Hulk Hogan versus Iron Sheik for the world title when Hulk Hogan first got into WWF, because that was the day that I decided that I wanted to be an announcer. And Howard Finkel's dude, 5'6", 130 pounds soaking wet, but the dude had pipes. He had pipes. And it's hard being in this business. A lot of the other announcers, they don't really want to hang out with you. To me, I don't care who it is, man. I want to be friends with everybody. There's enough work for everyone, and I want to be cool with everyone, but not everybody wants to be cool with you.
Well, why do you think that is, Ralph? Why don't they want to hang out with you? I mean, is it that they choose not to, or they just keep their circle small?
Man, like, I just think that it's a very there isn't really a lot of gigs, right? There really isn't a lot of work, and I think that people just want to make sure that they're secure with their own work and not feel like, oh, Ralph's coming in to try to take my job. No, dude, I want to be friends with you because I think you're cool. Like, I know how hard it is to do this. It's cool. Like, I want to be cool with you because it's really, a lot of guys don't really vibe with us, man. We're put on an island and we're expected to do something on one take and not mess up and never always be on point, and you can never have a bad day up there because, if you're on Showtime, millions of people are going to immediately go to Twitter and clown your ass, yeah. Right? So there's a lot of things, even the club cars, man, they're hard because the promoters expect so much of you. They expect that you are just there and you're gonna, I'll give you tickets, man. You can do it for tickets. No, dude. I have a family. You know, we both probably experienced that because we both worked a lot of club cars, man.
Can I put somebody on? I feel like putting somebody on blast right now, but I won't do that. That's not my style, man. You live and learn. I live and learned off this.
Well, we all do, right? Yeah. We all do. So, like, I'm cool with as many announcers as I can because at the end of the day, I know how hard it is. I know what we all have to go through. Yeah. And I love everybody, dude. I don't wish any ill will. You know, like my man Jeremiah Gallegos, dude. This guy came on.
Oh man!
And
props
he just
to him.
Came like a ball of fire, bro.
Golden voice, literally a golden voice.
Yeah, dude. He's fantastic. And the thing of it is that okay, people is gonna say, oh well, he sounds like Michael Buffer. Okay, well that's his style, dude. That's his style. That's what he wants to do, and he's admitted it. Hey, man, I learned from him. Therefore, my style is that plus a little bit of mine. Okay, big deal. You're doing your thing. Go do your thing. And look, he had a stroke. Yeah. And instead of being down and saying, you know what, woe is me, I don't care. Yeah. You know, I'm done in this business. No, he got on social media, and he willed his way, and he's getting better, and he's improving. And the dude is pretty cool, man. So for me, I'm not gonna hate on anyone that respects me. If you respect me, we're good. If you don't, well, then that's your problem because I'm still gonna do what I have to do for my children. I'm not there for you. I'm gonna extend my hand. If you accept it, fantastic. If you don't, well, I'm sorry. That's something that you're gonna have to live with because, you know, I get along with the media. I get along with the promoters. I get along with Jimmy. I'm cool with David Diamante, another guy that I'm cool with, that I'll back up anytime he needs me to. I mean, dude, there's just countless people that I become friends with in this business that it's a small business. It's a small business. Be good to everybody that you can because one way or another, someone is going to need someone down the road. Absolutely. And you just got to be cool and you got to show your true self and just understand that if God wants you to be somewhere, He's going to put you there. Yeah. And that's the thing that I say, okay, God, I wake up when I do these shows, okay, I hope that I can stay with Mayweather until I have retired from what I'm doing. That is a goal for me. It may happen. It may not happen. I may be doing the Kumite for 3 years and then something else comes along, or I may be out of the business completely. We don't know. So while you're here, you take advantage of the situation. You help kids. You help people that are struggling with trying to find their way. You give them your story on how you're announcing baseball games like I did at 7 years old. Dude, my dream didn't come true. We talked about this the last time. Yeah. 32 years old, bro. I'm 41 now. I didn't get my first real gig until I was 32 years old. And I kept dreaming, man, since a kid. Okay, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but some way I'm going to do it. I'm going to find a way to do it, and I'm going to take advantage of it, and I'm just going to run with it. And that's what you need to do. Your podcast is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger each show. You're having mega stars on here. I'm not me, but just saying in general, you've got people, man, that are doing great in this industry, and your podcast is getting known. That didn't start out that way. We talked about that. You learn as you go along. Every episode it gets better. Every show for me I try to get better, but I want to be there for the fans, for the fighters who may never get on Showtime again. If he's from the Dominican Republic, it's La República Dominicana. It's not Dominican Republic. If you're from Mexico, it's Mexico, not Mexico, because your mama says Mexico, not Mexico. Right. And they may never get that platform again. So I do the best that I can for them, and we just try to do God's work. And that's it.
Amen to that, man. Before I let you go, I want you to be a part of this, too. I want to give props to Jeremiah. I don't know if you know, Ralph, he did something very, very special for my son on his birthday. And it was just, I literally, the minute he started it, I don't even remember it because I just went into emotions, and he didn't have to. I didn't say, hey, can you do this? He speaks and he does things from the bottom of his heart, and personally, he has a great golden voice. I mean, he has a great voice, and not only that, he is a fighter. He's fighting this, he's winning, and before you know it, we're going to see him back in the middle of the ring, exactly where he belongs.
That's right.
And also, Wildcard Jim, Marie, Freddie, Mike, Sean, I just want to say what's up. Hey, I'm rocking the Wildcard Jim boxing. I usually don't rock other people's gear, but I'm rocking Wildcard because they make a great product there. The hat, the shirt, to my Wildcard family. I love you, Freddie, Marie, Mike, and Sean. Viva Sean, my man. I got to give him a shout out. We're going to end today's show.
Yeah, Sean. Knucklehead Sean, that's my dog.
Oh yeah, great guy.
You know, honestly, man, when I first met that guy, I know you got to wrap this up, but I got to tell you.
No, go ahead.
I thought this guy was like, dude, he was so wound up. I'm like, his bag with his little dolls on it, and I was like, it was a Pacquiao Vargas, right? He walks in, and I got to do a part of the media because I was doing interviews. And I said, dude, I see this guy. Who is this guy? Like, what's this guy about? And he's sitting at our damn table, dude. And by the end of the lunch, I loved him. I said, dude.
He sat his briefcase on the table with Woody there?
Yeah. I said, I didn't really know of you, man.
Yeah.
I said, but I'm going to be honest with you. You're pretty cool, dude. And over the years, we've got to do shows together. I announced some of his fighters. He had a great fighter that he fought, Angelo Leo, in Atlanta. It was an unbelievable fight. And I asked anybody to go to the Showtime YouTube channel and find this fight. I don't remember exactly what his fighter's name was, but he fought Angelo Leo just on the Gervonta Davis undercard. It's probably the best fight that I've ever seen live. No shit. And I said, dude, your fighter was fantastic. He's like, no, dude, you're fantastic. He tries to hype everybody up and give everybody nothing but good, positive energy. And we went to go have dinner that night, and I love the dude, man. So big shouts out to him, man. He's a fantastic person.
Awesome, dude. I met him in Fresno, California. German Cajas was in Fresno fighting at Save Mart Center, and it was a Philippine fiasco. I mean, everybody was there. And he said, okay, I need an American reporter, right? And he looked at me. He said, bring him up here. He basically put me on blast in front of everybody, put me right there, and he said, when he's done with this interview, take him backstage because I want him to do the post-fight interview with German. After that, we got to meet. He heard my story. I didn't say, hey, here's my phone number. And so none of that stuff. I get a text from Rick Murrigan, also a text from Sean, 2:30 in the morning. Him and Manny Pacquiao are saying thumbs up for Richie, sending me a video. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was still dreaming. I mean, that's the type of dude Sean is.
Yes, he's awesome. Man.
He's awesome, dude.
And big thumbs up for Richie, bro.
Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. The whole world is in, I don't want to say chaos, misinformed. There's mixed reactions going right now. But let's not forget about, I want to give, a big tribute and I want to pray for the Floyd's family. I mean, Floyd's family, and just George Floyd, man. I mean, we lost a human being, and for Mayweather to step up, a class act, and take care of the headache, because those funerals, they are not cheap at all. I mean, in my neighborhood, you see people, selling, washing cars, etc.
Yeah. Not only that, man. There's believe it or not, and I think we've all experienced this in one way or another. It's sad because people in your family are hurt, right? And then there's arguing and fighting because maybe somebody may not have enough money as another person. It's hard. It is not an easy thing to do. So yes, the headache of dealing with who's going to pay for this, who's going to pay for that. Well, I don't have the money. It becomes so hard, and you're dealing with grief of your family member being killed like that in such a way that it'll never be the same for you or your family, and yet you're now having to worry about how we're going to take care of this. It is a huge headache, man, and it's just something that they don't have to worry about.
Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what I want to stop first. The coronavirus or these lives that are being taken, these innocent lives that are being taken. I'm all for the positivity. I really can't back up and support when the law is being broken. Ladies and gentlemen, there's another way to do it. There's a platform. Everybody has a voice. It needs to be heard, and let's do it positively, 100% positive, with positive energy as well, man.
And I think that I saw. I don't know if you go Burner is a rapper. His name is Burner. He's really big up there in your area and the California scene. His cookie store got ruined and it was burned down, right? So he goes on social media and he says, look, I know you guys are hurting, right? I know that this whole situation and many others, like the guy that was running jogging in Atlanta in Georgia, and he gets shot, by these guys in the truck with a shotgun and whatnot. There's a lot of situations, right, that are happening because of our smartphones are able to now capture stuff like this. But at the end of the day, he's like, when you try to protest, like Kobe wearing the I Can't Breathe shirt, they give him slack for that. LeBron wearing the shirt, people didn't like that either. The guys at the Olympics wearing the the Black Gloves protesting, at the metal podium.
Kaepernick.
People were really mad, they were really mad about that, right? So, like, I guess their train of thought is, hey, man, like, we can't do any of these things because you don't like any of the positive things we're doing. We're just going to take it to the next level. And it's really unfortunate because it didn't have to happen like that. I mean, we have Scottsdale, Arizona, which is supposed to be, for our state and in the Southwest, the nicest area, and it got vandalized as well. I mean, there's no rules, there's no regulation, and for the kids that are listening or anybody that is listening, I mean, it hurts me, but it's not the way. You can join the numbers and really make a big difference, but when there's killing and other stuff going on, I mean, it really makes it difficult to be able to be supported when that stuff kind of happens.
And I'm not going to put all the blame on them. Our leadership can take a stronger role and say the appropriate things and be sensitive to another human life being taken. Hey, I'm going to leave us with that, Ralph. Ralph, I appreciate you taking the time. Always a class act when you come on here. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, I want to thank everybody here in Fresno, California. It's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
Okay, fight fans, it's not goodbye, but until next week.
Remember.
It's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, Cole Escovedo, the special guests, and all the crew right here at the Kick-Ass Podcast, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.